Kiwoo Park wiped the sweat from his forehead as he finished cleaning the last maintenance panel at New Seoul Spaceport. The night shift was always quiet, with only a few cargo ships coming and going. Most people were asleep, but Kiwoo liked working at night. It was peaceful, and he could think while he worked. He packed his tools into his bag and started walking toward the exit. The spaceport was huge, with long metal corridors and bright lights that never turned off. His footsteps echoed as he walked, past empty shops and closed restaurants. Near the waste disposal area, Kiwoo heard a strange sound. It was like someone crying, but different. He stopped and listened. The sound came again, soft and sad. Kiwoo looked around the corner and saw something that made him freeze. A tall, thin creature was sitting on the ground next to the garbage containers. It had gray skin that looked almost blue under the lights. Its arms and legs were very long, and its head was bigger than a human head. The creature was digging through old food containers with its long fingers. Kiwoo had seen aliens before at the spaceport, but this one looked different. It looked sick and very thin. Its clothes were torn and dirty. The creature found a piece of old bread and ate it quickly, making small, happy sounds. Kiwoo felt sorry for the creature. He could see it was hungry and desperate. He had heard about alien refugees on the news. Many had lost their homes when big companies took over their planets. Some governments let them stay, but others sent them away. The creature looked up and saw Kiwoo watching. Its eyes were golden and very large. It made a scared sound and tried to crawl away, but it was too weak to move fast. "Wait," Kiwoo said softly. "I won't hurt you." The creature stopped moving but kept watching him. Kiwoo could see fear in its golden eyes. He sat down on the ground to look less scary. "Are you hungry?" Kiwoo asked. The creature tilted its head. It opened its mouth and made some clicking sounds. Then it spoke in broken words that Kiwoo could understand. "Hungry, yes. Sorry. Sorry for taking food." Kiwoo's heart felt heavy. The creature was apologizing for eating garbage. "What's your name?" he asked. "Veltar," the creature said. I was Kethmori." Kiwoo had heard that name before. The Kethmori were warriors from far away. Their planet had been destroyed by mining companies. Many of them had become refugees. "How long have you been here?" Kiwoo asked. Veltar held up his long fingers. "Many days. Maybe 20? 30? No food, no money, no way to leave." Kiwoo felt angry. How could anyone let someone starve like this? He reached into his lunch bag and pulled out a sandwich he had saved for later. He also had some fruit and a bottle of water. "Here," Kiwoo said, offering the food to Veltar. Veltar's golden eyes grew wide. For me?" "Yes, take it." Veltar reached out with shaking hands and took the food. He ate the sandwich so fast that Kiwoo worried he might choke. When Veltar finished, he looked at Kiwoo with tears in his golden eyes. "Thank you," Veltar whispered. "You are kind. Most humans, they walk past. They do not see." Kiwoo felt sad hearing this. He wished more people would help. He reached into his pocket and felt some old coins. Before everything became digital, people used metal money. Kiwoo still carried some old coins because his grandfather had given them to him for good luck. "Here," Kiwoo said, pulling out the coins. "Take these too. Maybe you can use them somehow." Veltar looked at the small metal pieces in his palm. There were several coins of different sizes. One was a 501 coin from 2019. It had a picture of a crane bird with its wings spread wide, flying through the sky. "Metal money," Veltar said, looking confused. "Humans still use this?" "Not really," Kiwoo said, "but maybe someone will trade them for digital credits, or maybe they're worth something to collectors." Veltar closed his long fingers around the coins. "You give me food and money, why? You do not know me." Kiwoo thought about the question. "Because you're hungry and I have food. Because you need help and I can help. That's enough reason for me." Veltar stared at Kiwoo for a long moment. "Your people? Not all humans are like you?" "Some are," Kiwoo said. "Maybe more than you think. You just met the wrong ones before." Veltar stood up slowly. He was much taller than Kiwu, maybe 8 feet tall, but he moved carefully like he was still weak from hunger. "I must go back to refugee camp," Veltar said. "Thank you, kind human. I will remember your face. I will remember your kindness." "My name is Kiwu," he said. "Kiwu Park." "Kiwu," Veltar repeated carefully. "I will remember Kiwu Park." Veltar started to walk away, then turned back. "The medal with the flying bird. It is beautiful, like sacred symbol of my people." Kiwu looked at where Veltar was pointing. The crane on the 501 coin did look nice in the light. "Keep it," Kiwu said. "Maybe it will bring you good luck." Veltar nodded and walked away into the darkness of the spaceport corridors. Kiwu watched until he couldn't see the tall alien anymore. As Kiwu walked home, he thought about Veltar. He hoped the alien would find a way to get proper food and shelter. He hoped someone would help him get off Earth if that's what he wanted. Kiwu wished he could do more, but he was just a maintenance worker. He didn't have much money or power. Kiwu lived in a small apartment near the spaceport. He made himself some tea and sat by the window looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, Veltar's people were scattered across the galaxy, looking for new homes. It made Kiwu sad to think about it. He went to bed thinking about Golden Eyes and the grateful way Veltar had said his name. Kiwu didn't know that the simple coins in his pocket would change everything. He didn't know that his small act of kindness would soon become the most important thing that ever happened in the galaxy. All Kiwu knew was that he had helped someone who needed help. For him, that was enough. He fell asleep hoping that Veltar would be safe and that someone else would show him kindness too. In the darkness of space, things were already starting to change. The coins in Veltar's pocket would soon reveal secrets that neither human nor alien could have imagined. Veltar made his way through the dark corridors of the space station that orbited Earth. The refugee camp was located in the old storage sections, where hundreds of displaced aliens lived in small metal rooms. The air smelled like too many different species living too close together. Veltar climbed the stairs slowly, still weak from hunger. His people lived on level 7, in a section with other Kethmori refugees. As he walked down the hallway, he could hear the sad songs his people sang when they missed their lost homeworld. He reached his family's small room and pressed his hand against the door scanner. Inside, his clan leader, Elder Morthak, was sitting on a simple mat, reading from an ancient book. The old Kethmori looked up when Veltar entered. "You return late, young one," Elder Morthak said. His voice was deep and tired. "Did you find any work today?" "No work," Veltar said, "but I found something else. I found kindness." He told Elder Morthak about Kiwu and the food. Then he pulled out the coins from his pocket. "A human gave me these. He said they might be worth something." Elder Morthak looked at the coins with mild interest until his eyes fell on the 501 piece. The old alien's breath caught in his throat. His golden eyes went wide and his hands began to shake. "Veltar," he whispered. Where did you get this?" "The human gave it to me. Kiwu Park." "Why? What's wrong?" Elder Morthak stood, up so fast that he almost fell over. He took the coin in his trembling hands and held it up to the light. The crane on the coin seemed to glow under the room's dim bulbs. "This is impossible," Elder Morthak breathed. "This cannot be real." "What cannot be real?" Veltar asked, confused and worried. Elder Morthak opened his ancient book and flipped through the pages until he found what he was looking for. It was a drawing that had been made thousands of years ago. The drawing showed a bird with spread wings, flying through stars. Under the picture were words written in Old Kethmori language. "Look," Elder Morthak said, holding the coin next to the drawing. "Look and tell me what you see." Veltar looked. The crane on the coin was exactly the same as the bird in the ancient drawing. Every line, every detail was perfect. It was like someone had copied the holy symbol and put it on human money. "It's the same," Veltar whispered. "But how is that possible?" Elder Morthak sat down heavily. 3,000 years ago, our greatest prophet wrote about the end times. She said that when our people faced extinction, a sign would come. The medal of sacred flight would appear, carried by a groundwalker who would guide us to salvation. Groundwalker, Veltar asked. A being that walks on solid ground instead of flying. Humans walk on ground. They do not have wings like the sacred bird. Veltar felt his heart beating fast. You think Kiwu is the one from the prophecy? I think, Elder Morthak said slowly, that we must tell the others immediately. Within an hour, every Kethmori in the refugee camp knew about the coin. They gathered in the main meeting room, talking in excited whispers. Elder Morthak showed them the coin and read from the ancient book. The prophecy said, "When the star home burns and the people scatter like dust in the void, look for the medal of sacred flight. It will come from the hands of a groundwalker whose heart knows no borders between sky and earth. This one will show the path to the new star home." An hour later, Captain Sujin Lee of the Earth Defense Force received an urgent message. The Kethmori refugees were requesting an immediate meeting with Earth's government. They said it was about something that could change the future of both species. Captain Sujin Lee was a practical woman who had dealt with many alien refugees. She had seen desperate people make wild claims before, but something about this request felt different. The Kethmori were known for being proud and quiet. They rarely asked for anything. She arrived at the refugee camp 2 hours later with a small team of translators and cultural experts. Elder Morthak met them at the entrance, holding the coin in his hands like it was made of pure gold. "Captain Lee," Elder Morthak said in careful English, "thank you for coming. We have something to show you, something that will sound impossible, but we swear it is true." They sat in the meeting room while Elder Morthak explained about the prophecy and the coin. Captain Sujin Lee listened carefully, trying not to show her doubts on her face. "You're saying," she said slowly, "that this old coin from Earth matches a symbol from your religion? And that means the person who gave it to you is some kind of chosen one?" "Not chosen one," Elder Morthak said. "The prophecy does not speak of gods or magic. It speaks of recognition, of seeing the sacred flight in everyday kindness. Your species calls it compassion, yes?" Captain Sujin Lee nodded. "The groundwalker is not special because of power," Elder Morthak continued. "The groundwalker is special because they choose to help without asking for reward. This Kiwu, Park, did not know about prophecy. He simply saw hunger and gave food. He saw need and gave help." "Okay," Captain Sujin Lee said. "Let's say I believe this prophecy thing. What are you asking for?" Elder Morthak took a deep breath. "We wish to offer Earth a gift. In return, we ask you to find this Kiwu Park. We must speak with him." "What kind of gift?" "The location of our most sacred vault. Inside are technologies that could help your people travel between stars in days instead of months. Medical knowledge that could heal damaged worlds. But these gifts come with responsibility." Captain Sujin Lee felt her heart skip a beat. Technology like that could change everything for humanity. "What kind of responsibility?" "The technology only works when our species work together. It was designed that way by our ancestors, who somehow knew this day would come. If you try to use it alone, it will not function. If we try to use it alone, it will not function. Together, both species become stronger." Captain Sujin Lee looked at the coin again. The crane really was beautiful, with its wings spread wide like it was flying toward something wonderful. "I need to contact my superiors," she said. "This is bigger than I can handle alone." "We understand," Elder Morthak said. "But please hurry. There are others in the galaxy who would take this technology by force if they knew it existed. We trust Earth because one human showed kindness to our prince." "Prince?" Captain Sujin Lee asked, surprised. Veltar stepped forward. "I am Prince Veltar Keththren. I chose exile instead of surrender when our world was destroyed. I came to Earth hoping to find allies who would help my people. Instead, I found something better. I found proof that prophecies can come true through simple kindness." Captain Sujin Lee stared at the young alien prince who had been living in a refugee camp, eating garbage just days ago. The galaxy, she realized, was about to become a very different place. Detective So-Young Kim had seen many strange cases in her career, but this was the first time she had been asked to find someone because of an ancient alien prophecy. She sat in her office, looking at the security footage from New Seoul Spaceport. The video showed Kiwoo Park talking to Veltar near the waste disposal area. She watched Kiwoo give food and coins to the alien refugee. It looked like a simple act of kindness, nothing special. But according to the Keth Mori, it was the most important thing that had happened in 3,000 years. Found him. So-Young said into her communicator. Kiwoo Park, age 28, maintenance worker at the spaceport, lives in apartment 4B at 427 Sky Street. An hour later, So-Young knocked on Kiwoo's door. When he answered, he looked confused and worried. "Are you Kiwoo Park?" she asked, showing her badge. "Yes," Kiwoo said nervously. "Did I do something wrong?" "No, nothing wrong, but I need you to come with me. There are some people who want to meet you." "What people?" "Why?" So-Young smiled. "You helped an alien a few days ago. Gave him food and some coins?" Kiwoo nodded. "Veltar, is he okay? Did something happen to him?" "He's fine. Better than fine, actually. It turns out he's alien royalty, and you might have just fulfilled a prophecy." Kiwoo stared at her. "I'm sorry, what?" 2 hours later, Kiwoo found himself in a conference room at Earth Defense Headquarters. Captain Sujin Lee was there, along with several other military officers. Dr. Hai Rim Choi, a specialist in alien cultures, sat at a computer with books and papers spread around her. "Mr. Park," Captain Sujin Lee said, "thank you for coming. I know this must be confusing." "Very confusing," Kiwoo agreed. The detective said something about a prophecy. Dr. Hai Rim Choi looked up from her computer. "Mr. Park, can you tell us about the coins you gave to Veltar? Specifically, do you remember one with a bird on it?" "The 501 coin," Kiwoo said. "It had a crane. My grandfather gave me those coins for luck." "Do you know who designed that coin?" Dr. Hai Rim Choi asked. Kiwoo shook his head. "A man named Jae-Sung Min. He died 15 years ago, but his family still lives in Busan. I contacted them this morning." Dr. Hai Rim Choi pulled up some files on her screen. According to his daughter, Min had strange dreams for months before he designed the coin. He dreamed about flying through space and meeting tall gray beings with golden eyes. Kiwoo felt a chill run down his spine. "That sounds like the Keth Mori, yes. But here's the really strange part. Min designed that coin 20 years before first contact with any alien species. 20 years before humans knew that aliens existed." Captain Sujin Lee leaned forward. "Mr. Park, the Keth Mori believe that your act of kindness fulfilled an ancient prophecy. They're offering to share technology that could change human civilization. But first, they want to meet you." "Why me?" Kiwoo asked. "I just gave him some food and old coins. Anyone would have done the same thing." "That's where you're wrong," Dr. Hai Rim Choi said sadly. "I've been studying the refugee camps. Most humans do walk past hungry aliens. Most people don't help. That's what makes your kindness special." The door opened and Veltar walked in, followed by Elder Morthak. Veltar looked much better now. He was clean and well-fed, wearing simple but dignified robes. "Kiwoo," Veltar said, his golden eyes bright with happiness. "You came." "Hi, Veltar," Kiwoo said, standing up. "You look much better." "Thanks to you," Veltar said. "Kiwoo Park, I must tell you truth. I am Prince Veltar Keththren. My people are scattered across the galaxy looking for new home." Kiwoo's mouth fell open. "You're a prince? But you were eating garbage. I chose exile when my world was destroyed. I could have lived in comfort while my people suffered, but that was not right. I came to Earth hoping to find allies. Instead, I found something better." Elder Morthak stepped forward. "Kiwoo Park, our prophecy speaks of the ground walker who carries the metal of sacred flight. But prophecy is not about magic. It is about recognition." "I don't understand," Kiwoo said. "The prophecy teaches us to watch for someone who shows kindness without asking for reward. Someone who sees need and helps even when helping is difficult. You did not know Veltar was a prince. You did not know about our prophecy. You helped because helping was right thing to do. Dr. Hiram Choi looked up from her computer again. Mr. Park, I've been studying the connection between the coin and Kethmori symbols. The match isn't just close, it's perfect, down to microscopic details. It's like the designer copied their sacred symbol exactly. But how is that possible? Kaiwu asked. We don't know, Captain Sujin Lee said. Maybe it's coincidence, maybe it's something else. But the Kethmori believe it means something important. Elder Morthak nodded. Our ancestors wrote that the metal of sacred flight would appear when needed most. Perhaps your coin designer was sensitive to, call it cosmic need. Perhaps universe finds ways to create hope when hope is necessary. Kiwu looked around the room at all the serious faces watching him. What happens now? Now, Veltar said, we show you something that will change your world and mine. He pulled out a small device and activated it. A hologram appeared in the air, showing a star map with a small asteroid marked in red. This is location of our most sacred vault. Inside is technology that could help humans travel between stars in days instead of months. Medical knowledge that could heal damaged worlds. Energy systems that could power your cities without pollution. That sounds incredible, Kiwu said. It is incredible, Elder Morthak said. But it comes with price. Technology only works when our species work together. Our ancestors designed it that way. They somehow knew that sharing would make both peoples stronger. Captain Sujin Lee stood up. Mr. Park, we're asking if you'll come with us to see this vault, as Earth's representative. Me? Kiwu said. But I'm just a maintenance worker. Shouldn't you send scientists or diplomats? The prophecy speaks of the ground walker, Elder Morthak said. That is you. Besides, sometimes universe chooses simple people for important tasks because simple people have simple wisdom. Kiwu thought about it. A week ago, his biggest worry was fixing broken machines at the spaceport. Now aliens were telling him he was part of an ancient prophecy that could change the galaxy. What about my job? He asked. Captain Sujin Lee smiled. I think we can arrange some time off. Kiwu looked at Veltar, who was watching him hopefully. He thought about the hungry alien prince eating garbage and how a simple act of kindness had led to all this. Okay, Kiwu said, I'll help, but I still don't really understand what's happening. Understanding comes with time, Elder Morthak said. Right now, action is more important. The galaxy is watching Kiwu Park. Some who watch want to help. Others want to take what we offer by force. What do you mean? Kiwu asked. Dr. Hiram Choi's computer beeped with an urgent message. She read it quickly, and her face went pale. Captain, she said, we just intercepted a transmission. Hegemony. Dynamics knows about the Kethmori technology. They're sending a fleet to Earth, Captain Sujin Lee cursed under her breath. How long do we have? 3 days, maybe 4. Veltar's golden eyes darkened with anger. Hegemony dynamics destroyed our homeworld. Now they come to steal our gifts, and enslave your people too. Kiwu felt fear growing in his chest. What does this mean for Earth? It means, Captain Sujin Lee said grimly, that your act of kindness just started a war. The journey to the Kethmori Sacred Vault took 2 days in Earth's fastest ship. Kiwu sat in the passenger section, still amazed that he was traveling through space. Through the window he could see stars and distant planets that looked like tiny dots of light. Admiral Tae-ho Yoon commanded the mission. He was a serious man with gray hair and tired eyes. Next to him sat Veltar, who had changed from refugee clothes into the ceremonial armor of a Kethmori prince. The armor was silver and gold with symbols that looked like flying birds. Tell me about hegemony dynamics, Kiwu said to Veltar as they traveled through space. Veltar's golden eyes grew dark. They are a corporation that controls many star systems. They find planets with valuable resources, then force the people living there to give up their homes. If people refuse, hegemony dynamics destroys their worlds and takes what they want anyway. That's what happened to your planet? Yes. Our world had rare minerals that they needed for their ships. We offered to trade fairly, but they wanted everything. When we said no, they used weapons that cracked our planet open like an egg. Admiral Tae-ho Yoon turned around in his seat. How many people did you lose? Billions, Veltar said quietly. Only a few thousand Keth-Mori escaped in refugee ships. We scattered across the galaxy hoping to find new homes. Most governments were afraid to help us because they feared hegemony. Dynamics would attack them too. Kiwu felt sick thinking about billions of people dying for corporate profits. And now they want the technology in your vault? Yes. But they do not understand that the technology will not work for them alone. Our ancestors were wise. They built cooperation into the very structure of their inventions. The ship's computer beeped, and the pilot announced they were approaching the asteroid field where the vault was hidden. Through the window, Kiwu could see thousands of floating rocks of different sizes. Some were as small as houses, others as big as cities. There, Veltar pointed to a medium-sized asteroid that looked ordinary. The vault is inside that one. They docked with the asteroid and put on spacesuits. Kiwu had never worn one before, and he felt clumsy walking in it. They entered through an airlock that had been built into the rock. Inside, Kiwu gasped. The asteroid was hollow, and the walls were covered with beautiful carvings that glowed with soft blue light. In the center stood a tall alien with long, white hair and robes that seemed to shimmer like starlight. High Priestess Zinara, Veltar said, bowing deeply. I have brought the Groundwalker. High Priestess Zinara looked at Kiwu with ancient golden eyes. She was very old, even for a Keth-Mori, and she moved slowly, but with great dignity. So, she said in perfect English, you are the human who gave kindness to our prince without knowing who he was. I just gave him some food and coins, Kiwu said, feeling embarrassed. It wasn't anything special. Kindness is always special, High Priestess Zinara said. Come. Let me show you what your ancestors built for this moment. She led them deeper into the asteroid, through corridors lined with more glowing carvings. The walls told the story of the Keth-Mori people, their rise to greatness, their peaceful exploration of the stars, and their eventual destruction. At the center of the asteroid was a huge room filled with strange machines. They hummed with quiet energy and pulsed with the same blue light as the wall carvings. Kiwu had never seen technology so advanced. These are quantum resonance drives, High Priestess Zinara explained. With these, your ships could cross the galaxy in days instead of months. Over there are biological regeneration matrices. They can heal damaged ecosystems and restore dead worlds to life. Admiral Tae-ho Yoon stared at the machines with wonder. This technology could solve most of humanity's problems. Energy, transportation, healing. Yes, High Priestess Zinara said. But watch what happens when I try to activate them alone. She walked to one of the machines and placed her hands on a glowing panel. Nothing happened. The machine continued to hum quietly, but it didn't respond to her touch. Now, she said to Kiwu, you try. Kiwu approached the machine nervously. When he put his hands on the panel, nothing happened either. Now both of you together, High Priestess Zinara said. Kiwu and Veltar placed their hands on the panel at the same time. Immediately, the machine came alive. Lights flashed, screens activated, and the humming grew louder. Energy flowed through the room like a river of light. Amazing, Admiral Tae-ho Yoon breathed. It requires both species to work. Our ancestors foresaw this alliance, High Priestess Zinara said. They built the machines to only function when beings from different worlds work together in trust and friendship. No one species can use them alone. Suddenly, alarms started blaring throughout the asteroid. A voice spoke in both English and Keth-Mori. Warning. Hostile ships detected approaching the vault. Estimated time to arrival, 2 hours. Admiral Tae-ho Yoon activated his communicator. This is Admiral Yoon, report. Sir, came the voice of his ship's captain. We're detecting a massive fleet jumping into the system. The ships match hegemony dynamics designs. At least 50 vessels, including 3 battleships. Kiwu felt his heart start racing. 50 ships? How many do we have? Just this one, Admiral Tae-ho Yoon said grimly. Veltar's hands curled into fists. They followed us. Somehow they tracked us here. High Priestess Zinara remained calm. This was always a possibility. Greed is predictable. We need to get this technology back to Earth, Admiral Taeho Yoon said. If hegemony dynamics gets it, they will use it to enslave every free world in the galaxy, Veltar finished. Can we download the technology quickly? Kiwoo asked. High Priestess Zinara shook her head. The machines are too complex. It would take weeks to transfer all the information safely. Then we fight, Admiral Taeho Yoon said. 1 ship against 50, Kiwoo said. That's impossible. Veltar looked at Kiwoo with determination in his golden eyes. Kiwoo, you started something when you showed kindness to a stranger. Your story has been spreading across the galaxy through news networks and communication channels. What do you mean? The image of a human giving food and coins to a starving alien has inspired people everywhere. Species that have been oppressed by hegemony dynamics are starting to hope again. High Priestess Zinara smiled. Hope is more powerful than any weapon, Kiwoo Park, and hope spreads faster than fear when people see it as real. Admiral Taeho Yoon's communicator crackled again. Sir, we're receiving multiple jump signatures. More ships are arriving in the system. Hegemony reinforcements? Admiral Taeho Yoon asked. No, sir. These ships, they're from dozens of different species. They're hailing us on all frequencies. They say they're here to help. Veltar laughed with joy. It worked. The alliance is forming. What alliance? Kiwoo asked. The one you started, High Priestess Zinara said, when you chose kindness over indifference. When you saw a hungry being and gave food instead of walking away. Every species in that fleet has heard your story, Kiwoo Park. They have come to fight for the principle you represent. Kiwoo looked around at the ancient machines, thinking about how his simple act of giving spare change to a hungry stranger had led to this moment. In a few hours, the fate of the galaxy would be decided in the space around this small asteroid. What do we do now? He asked. Admiral Taeho Yoon was already moving toward the exit. Now we find out if kindness really is stronger than greed. Kiwoo stood on the bridge of Admiral Taeho Yoon's ship, watching the view screen in amazement. Outside in space, hundreds of ships had gathered around the asteroid. They came in all shapes and sizes. Some looked like Earth vessels. Others were strange and beautiful designs he had never seen before. Captain Jin A-Song reporting for duty, came a voice over the communicator. She commanded a joint human Kethmori ship that had been quickly assembled from volunteer crews. Status report, Captain, Admiral Taeho Yoon said. We have ships from 23 different species, sir. The bird-like Velkari brought 12 vessels. The ocean people from Aquarios sent 6 ships. Even the peaceful Zenmari brought their defensive fleet. Kiwoo turned to Veltar, who was watching the gathering, fleet with tears in his golden eyes. They all came because of what happened at the spaceport? They came because your story gave them hope, Veltar said. For too long, species across the galaxy have been afraid to stand up to hegemony dynamics. But when they saw that a simple, human maintenance worker could show kindness to a stranger without asking for anything in return, they remembered what it means to do the right thing. On the view screen, the hegemony dynamics fleet appeared at the edge of the system. Their ships were dark and angular, built for war and intimidation. At the center was a massive battleship that dwarfed everything around it. This is Director Vale of Hegemony Dynamics, came a cold voice over the communication channels. You are interfering with corporate operations. Surrender the alien technology immediately, or we will take it by force. Admiral Taeho Yoon activated the communicator. This is Admiral Yoon of the Earth Defense Force. The technology belongs to the Kethmori people. If you want it, you'll have to go through all of us. Director Vale laughed. Admiral, I count over 200 ships in your little alliance. Impressive. But they are mostly civilian vessels and outdated military craft. My fleet consists of 50 state-of-the-art warships with the most advanced weapons in the galaxy. You cannot win. Captain Jin A-Song's voice came over the communicator. Sir, the alien ships are requesting permission to link their communication systems with ours. They want to send a message to the hegemony fleet. Granted, Admiral Taeho Yoon said. Suddenly, Voices from dozens of different species began speaking at once, each in their own language. But somehow Kiwu could understand them all through the ship's translation system. "This is Commander Zeph of the Velkari. You destroyed our mining colonies and enslaved our children. Today we fight back. This is Captain Morgul of the Zenmari. You poisoned our oceans for your factories. Today we reclaim our dignity. This is Admiral Kess of the Aquarios Defense Fleet. You turned our people into refugees. Today we show that refugees can become warriors." One by one, every species in the Alliance told their story of suffering under hegemony dynamics. Kiwu realized that his simple act of kindness had become a symbol for everyone who had been oppressed, ignored, or cast aside. "Your stories don't matter." Director Vale's voice cut through the testimonies. "History belongs to the strong. Prepare to be destroyed." The hegemony fleet began moving forward, their weapons charging with deadly energy. But instead of retreating, the Alliance ships moved closer together, forming a protective sphere around the asteroid containing the vault. "All ships, this is Admiral Yoon," came the voice over the communicator. "Remember, we're not just fighting for technology. We're fighting for the principle that cooperation is stronger than domination, that kindness is more powerful than greed." The battle began with a massive exchange of energy weapons. The space around the asteroid lit up like a fireworks show as red beams from hegemony ships clashed with the multicolored defenses of the Alliance. But something strange happened. The Alliance ships, despite being older and less powerful individually, began fighting with perfect coordination. The bird-like Velkari used their incredible speed to distract enemy fighters. The Aquarios ships, built for underwater combat, moved in fluid formations that confused the rigid hegemony tactics. The peaceful Zenmari provided support and rescue operations that kept damaged Allied ships in the fight. "How are they coordinating so well?" Director Vale demanded over the open channel. "They've never fought together before," Captain Jine Song answered him. "It's called trust, Director. When people fight for something they believe in, instead of just for profit, they find ways to work together." Kiwu watched the battle from the bridge, his heart pounding with fear and hope. Ships exploded on both sides, but the Alliance held together. Every time a hegemony ship was destroyed, the Alliance crews cheered. Every time they lost one of their own, they fought harder to honor the sacrifice. "Sir," the ship's tactical officer reported, "the hegemony fleet is regrouping. They're concentrating all their firepower on the asteroid. They're going to try to destroy the vault. All ships, protect the asteroid," Admiral Taeho Yoon ordered. But as the Alliance ships moved to intercept, more hegemony vessels appeared. Director Vale had called in reinforcements. Now the odds were even worse than before. "This is hopeless," someone said over the communicator. "No," Kiwu said suddenly, stepping forward to the communication panel. "May I speak to everyone?" Admiral Taeho Yoon nodded. Kiwu took a deep breath. "This is Kaiwu Park. I'm the human who gave coins to Prince Veltar. A week ago I was just a maintenance worker who fixed broken machines. I never thought I was special or important." The fighting slowed as ships on both sides listened to his words. "But I learned something today. None of us are fighting because we're special. We're fighting because we chose to care about each other. When I saw Veltar hungry, I shared my food. When you heard about our alliance, you chose to help strangers. That's what makes us strong. Not our weapons or our ships, but our willingness to help people we've never met." "Enough of this nonsense," Director Vale shouted. "All ships, destroy them all." But as the hegemony fleet prepared for their final attack, something unexpected happened. Ships began jumping out of hyperspace all around the battle zone. Hundreds of them, then thousands. "What's happening?" Admiral Taeho Yoon asked. Veltar was staring at the view screen in amazement. "It's the rest of the galaxy. Every species that has ever been hurt by hegemony dynamics. They're all coming." The communication channels filled with voices speaking, in languages Kiwu had never heard. But the message was the same in every tongue. "We stand with the Alliance. We stand with kindness." Director Vale's voice came over the communicator one last time, but now it sounded scared instead of confident. "This isn't over. Hegemony dynamics will remember this. Yes, Kiwu said into the communicator. Remember that greed lost to kindness today. Remember that cooperation beat domination. And remember that sometimes the most powerful thing in the universe is someone willing to share their lunch with a hungry stranger. The hegemony fleet retreated, outnumbered 1,000 to 1. The Alliance had won, but more importantly, they had shown the galaxy that working together was possible. 5 years later, Kiwu was back at New Sol Spaceport, fixing a broken maintenance panel. But the spaceport was very different now. Aliens from dozens of species worked alongside humans. Refugee camps had been replaced with cultural centers where different species shared their knowledge and traditions. Kiwu still carried coins in his pocket, not the old Earth money, but new Alliance currency that featured symbols from all member species. The 501 coin with the crane was displayed in the Museum of Galactic Friendship, next to a plaque that read, "Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can change the universe." As Kiwu finished his work, he saw a young alien child sitting alone near the food court. The child looked hungry and scared. Kiwu smiled, reached into his lunch bag, and walked over to offer help. After all, he had learned that being ordinary was the most extraordinary thing of all.